The following is a presentation of HBO Sports.
Well, good luck today.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Have a good time.
Thanks, honey.
And bring in a winner.
I don't ask for too much.
Another opening day for you, huh?
Another opening day.
How many have you been to? Have you ever counted?
No. I've been to, probably 50.
In his 85 years, Bob Beck has never seen a World Series championship.
This is it! Let's do this! Let's do it one time! Opening day program scorecard.
But like every Cub fan, he waits out those long, cold days of winter, knowing that come spring, when the ivy is green again, this could be the year the Cubs finally win it all.
I'm going to watch the Cubs right now. And opening day, all the possibilities are there for a great year.
Let's go, Cubs!
Opening day is the peak of all of the optimism. Opening days are always special because the Cubs are in the first place.
We're ready. Let's go, Cubs!
Someday, tomorrow will be today. There's no more, wait till next year. It's wait till this year. And I think this year we will do it.
Cub fan till I die, win or lose.
We're going to Bernie's Tavern, which is the meeting place for all the Cub fans. This is the first of 81 games, remember. And we can't win them all. I started to be a serious Cub fan when I could afford tickets. So my second office was Wrigley Field. And this is my little TV they put in so that I could see the game.
The TV is Bob's lifeline to the Cubs.
I'm legally blind, so I can follow the pitcher throwing the ball and the batting hit it. And if it goes in the outfield, I'm kind of lost.
Terry, push the volume up as much as possible.
I like the Cubs all my life, and I wouldn't want to lose this because of my problems, because I'd be lost. The first game I saw was in 1929. I was 8 years old, and we had an outfield that averaged .354. Well, they were good, but I wasn't old enough to appreciate it.
You have to go back long before Bob Beck was born to when the Cubs won their last World Series. But you could look it up. In 1907 and 08, they were back-to-back champions. Then in the late teens, an enterprising baseball fan took over the franchise.
William Wrigley began his career as a young man as a soap salesman. And he started putting pieces of chewing gum into the soap packages as an incentive to get people to buy the soap.
And he realized that people were buying the soap just to get the chewing gum. So he began selling chewing gum.
The gum became his number one business and built up that gum company into the world's largest of its type, and eventually he acquired majority ownership of the team.
Well, we're glad to be here, Mr. Wrigley. Now, by his own admission, he did not know anything about running a baseball team. But he hired somebody who did, Bill Beck Sr., who'd been a former sports writer.
My grandfather was third-grade educated gentleman from Boonville, Indiana, who, after ripping Mr. Wrigley and the Cubs for those many years, his phone rang, and Mr. Wrigley said to him, "If you can do a better job, then come on over and give it a try."
Happy Hartnett, and it's the first home run of the year!
With Wrigley's money and Beck's know-how, the Cubs were riding high in the 20s and 30s and got to the World Series 4 times. But thanks to Connie Mack's A's, Hank Greenberg's Tigers, and Joe McCarthy's Yankees, that's as far as they got. Still, they never lacked for talent.
Hack Wilson at bat, that 1930 home run champion.
Most colorful player of all, the guy who really set Chicago on fire, was Hack Wilson. And he was playing half the time hungover from being in the speakeasies the night before.
The legend was that they'd have to dump him in a tub of ice to get him ready for games, and he was ready. 56 homers and 191 RBIs in 1930 was unbelievable, but he had a tremendous supporting cast. William Wrigley Jr. brought in Rogers Hornsby, Kai Kyler playing right field, Riggs Stevenson in left field, Charlie Grimm at first base, with Billy Herman at second, Billy Jurgis at short, and Gabby Hartnett catching. The Cubs were considered the Yankees of the National League.
Those were high times for Cubs fans. But William Wrigley didn't live long enough to enjoy them. Fan to his dying day, on his deathbed, he made his son Philip promise to never sell the Cubs.
P.K. Wrigley was a genius when it came to running the chewing gum company, but he was not an intelligent baseball man.
Under P.K., the Cubs became a second-rate team by the early 40s. And what was P.K.'s solution? Beautify the ballpark. And when club president William Veck died, P.K. put Veck's son, Bill, to work turning Wrigley Field into a paradise and crowning it with an emerald jewel.
Ivy at Wrigley Field was the brainchild of the great Bill Veck. He went to P.K. Wrigley and he says, well, this is a great idea, Ivy on the walls, yeah. Can you get that done by the next home stand? And Veck says, well, you know, it's about 5 or 6 days. Ivy takes a while to grow.
All I know is that there are some great pictures of Dad out there planning it himself, because Mr. Wrigley was immediate gratification. I guess if you're one of the wealthiest men and you say, I want it now, they want it now.
Hey, listen, I'm going to see the Cubs right now. Cabs are coming. I got to go. I love you. Although there's not any lights on any of them, but we'll see. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye, Mom. I'm off to the sports bar. Wish it was a Cubs bar. There's a lot of Cubs fans here in New York. I'm sure there'll be some Cubs fans. To go watch opening day on TV. For me, opening day at Wrigley Field is more monumental than my birthday. Sure, they have their problems, and sure, they've had a long run. There is no other streak in sports like the Cubs. 1908. 1908. It is just a big bowl of wrong. 1945, we were at the World Series versus the Detroit Tigers. That didn't go well. We didn't win, but at least we made it to the series.
By 1945, with World War II just ending, the Cubs got good again. Of course, it helped that wartime competition wasn't especially tough.
Now, a lot of the players on the 45 Cubs were 4F, and a lot of the others were just too old to get drafted.
Warren Brown, sharp-witted columnist for the Chicago American, said it was a series that I don't think either team could win.
The Cubs, they were off and running. They took 2 of the first 3 games in Detroit and came home needing only 2 more wins. But an unfortunate incident during Game 4 ended up with the Cubs being condemned to a lifetime of failure.
Now, the Red Sox curse is obviously they sold Babe Ruth off. That's a real curse.
I mean, well, there is a curse, but, you know, it's just a curse on themselves. The goat? Oh, come on.
In 1945, Cianis, the goat guy, he brings the goat to the ballpark, and the Cubs go, you can't come in here with that smelly, stinky goat.
People dress like pigs today, like animals. You couldn't bring in a pet guinea pig if you wanted to. And he wanted to bring a billy goat back when people wore suits.
The goat's got ticket. Get out of here with your goat's got a ticket. Well, then he got PO'd.
And then this man says, my goat and I put a curse on you.
Believe what you will, but this is what happened. Hank Baroli, who had already pitched twice in 3 days, started Game 7 and didn't make it out of the first inning.
Johnson's up. Swings on one, slaps it down to Peter Webb. Webb has it, tossed it underhand to Mayo, forcing the runner Hughes at second and ending the ball game and ending the 1945 World Series.
We lost 9-3. And to this day, we Cub fans wonder, could a goat really be responsible for 6 decades of futility?
It's a billy goat and a restaurateur. They don't have the power to put curses on things. The Cubs should not have let him in. Why should he be allowed in? He had a billy goat.
It's the night. You can cut the pension with a knife at Wrigley Field in Game 1 of this doubleheader.
Jack Brickhouse was the famous Cubs announcer on TV. Jack was terrific. And then he had this hey, hey. Cubs could be losing 10-1 in the ninth inning, and he'd go, any old kind of rally can win it for the Cubs, and you believed him. And as soon as the game ended, then he'd run across the street and he'd start pounding the vodka, because who wouldn't after watching that crap, for 3 hours?
I remember games that late in the season, in September, where there were under 1,000 people at a game.
You know how the announcer says, there's a ground ball to the shortstop, routine, easy play. Well, we didn't have any of those.
It was hard not to blame the team's lousy play on the front office.
Wrigley viewed his team as a kind of a public trust. He wanted you to have a good time at the ballpark. He wanted to keep the prices low. Winning and losing were secondary.
PK finally got tired of losing and in 1961 concocted a ridiculous plan to help the Cubs win. He called it the College of Coaches.
We have announced today that the Cubs will not have a manager. We will have a coaching staff of 8 men.
In the first year alone, the head coach position rotated so many times that I can't even remember all the names of the head coaches.
You have one coach appointed as a head coach for a month at a time? Well, that could be. In fact, we have not worked out that detail as yet.
Every 2 weeks, there'd be a new coach, which would be the manager. Everyone's telling you to do this, somebody else and you got to let it go in one ear and out the other.
It was all confusing to a lot of people, but this is what the old man wants, Mr. Wrigley, and this is what he got.
PK was full of ideas, even if they made a little sense to a baseball team.
The new athletic director of the Chicago Cubs is Colonel Robert B. Whitlow of the United States Air Force.
Why not have an athletic director for the Chicago Cubs on top of having a college of coaches?
The fact that you've never been in professional baseball bother you a little bit with this assignment?
Not at all. I don't see where it's relevant, really.
They had a coach, a Colonel Whitlow. Colonel. It was like a military drill. Every day we went through things. I thought I was ready for a war. I really did.
Colonel Whitlow had very little effect on the Cubs and quietly resigned 2 years later, slinked off almost into the night.
But of all of the Cubs' questionable moves, none was worse than the one they made on June 15th, 1964.
There's not a Cub fan, of over 10 years old who doesn't at least know what Brock Fabroglio means.
Lou Brock comes up to the Cubs as a rookie in '62 from St. Cloud Class A. They play only night games. They never put sunglasses on. I taught him how to flip him. He gets to Wrigley Field. There's a fly ball in the sun. Even if his sunglasses are spinning around on his head, they go, this guy's no good. Trade him for a bum arm Ernie Broglio.
Brock ended up in the Hall of Fame. Broglio, he was a total bust.
Things were bleak. But we did have one shining star, our shortstop. Why, he was so good, he sometimes made us forget how bad we were.
Mr. Cub was the term that came to designate Ernie Banks. He was the metaphor for all that is Chicago Cubs.
Growing up as a black child in Chicago, Ernie Banks made people in Chicago proud at a time where, Chicago's most famous citizen was Al Capone.
A shortstop with a gold glove that would lead the league in home run, back-to-back MVP for second division clubs. You find me back-to-back MVPs finishing 6th place, 7th place. They never happened. Get it for Wrigley Field.
You just hoped Ernie Banks hit a home run when you went there, or when you were watching, and you hoped to hear Jack Brickhouse say, hey, hey, when Banks hit a home run. That's what because you weren't going to win anything.
There's a high fly, deep to left. Goes back. Hey, hey! It's a home run for Banks. Get him, Ernie!
But as great as Ernie was, the Cubs were still the laughingstock of the National League. But in 1965, after another dismal season, we got a new manager, Leo the Lip DeRocher. The only thing bigger than his ego was his mouth.
Well, number one, I guess you know that I'm very happy to be here, and I'm tickled to death to be managing this ball club.
And Leo DeRocher, although he hadn't managed a club on the field in a number of years, was clearly one of the most celebrated managers of the game. He had managed the old Brooklyn Dodgers. He'd managed the New York Giants.
I am the manager of this ball club, and I am the only one that's going to manage this ball club.
And he came in, it was very much against the Cub culture, which had been cuddlesome and lovely and kind of benign. And he came in and he shook things up.
You were not going to like Leo, but you were going to respect him. That's for sure.
Under Leo, the young Cubbies were hitting their stride. Billy Williams was sweet swinging his way into the Hall of Fame, and Ryne Santo was cementing his legacy at third base.
There's a ground ball bouncing high. Santo has it. Could get his man over the Banks. There's number
66. Leo's backing up the truck. He's got the Randy Hundley coming, Billy Hand. He's got Fergie Jenkins.
With Fergie in the starting rotation, we were golden. He was on his way to Cooperstown, and we were on our way to respectability. In July of 1967, we even got to first place. In 22 years, we hadn't been in first this late in the season.
There's a thing at the scoreboard at Wrigley Field where the flags above the scoreboard show the standing. It'll say St. Louis, Cincinnati, and then always at the bottom right, at the bottom was Chicago, the Cubs, because we were always in last place.
And they wanted the flags switched, which they usually didn't do until the next day.
We wanted to see, at least for once in our lifetime, the Chicago flag at the top.
Some of the players didn't know what was going on until they told us. So we walked down to the dressing rooms down the left field line, and then boom, all this cheering. The people just wouldn't leave. They just soaked it in.
Security to go, they got the guy, they got the key, they went back up.
And all of a sudden now, our flag's on top. We're in first place for the first time in I don't know how many years.
And you really would have thought they won the pennant. Cubs in first place. Cubs are in first place.
It was great. It was a great feeling, after all these years.
And then the fans, they cheered, and now they could go home because the damn flag was up.
First place didn't last very long, but it was just a matter of time. That season, and again in 1968, we finished in third. We were on our way.
Let me check and see what it's doing now. It's not raining. Not yet. It's going to be cold. This is only the intermediate layer. I've got a parka and a ski mask in the car. Opening day is the beginning. It's the beginning of the miracle year. It's the beginning of the season when we're going to win it, and you want to be there at the start.
David Fishman never misses an opening day. But his love for the Cubs takes him far beyond Wrigley Field. Every winter, he heads to Arizona to become a Cub for a week.
This was a chance to be a Cub that we couldn't be as a child. It's a fantasy camp. Sitting in the locker room with former Cubs, sitting in the bar with former Cubs, having Randy Hundley come up to me at the ballpark and tell me how to hit a pitching machine.
All right, you feeling all right?
Yeah, you can.
How about your leg?
Legs are okay. Take batting practice with him and tell some war stories with him and talk about '69. The best opening day was in '69 when the Cubs won in extra innings and then went on to have the infamous '69 season. The weather was beautiful. Willie Smith hit a home run in extra innings.
Deep to right, back, high! It's all over!
It was magic. It was magic.
The excitement that year, it was all about Chicago.
Hey, hey, holy mackerel, no doubt about it. There's a hot one to the right field. It takes in. Santo to the plate. Here's the throw now by Bill Russell. He scores. They're going to feel today. Come what may. A home run by Hundley.
How do you think they're going to do today? Oh, I think they'll win, and I think they'll go all the way.
Cubs are the greatest, and they're going to go all the way this year.
I think they're going to go all the way.
There's a line drive, short center field, the ball game is all over.
The Cubs hadn't been this good since the Second World War. By June 1st, we had a 7.5 game lead over the Pirates, and Wrigleyville was euphoric.
We'd come home off a road trip, and shucks, there'd be 400 or 500 people at the airport greeting us.
We had signs. We had a sign one year that said, World Series, I'll drink to that.
It was incredible. It was their ball club, and they wanted to be a part of it.
69 was like
You were a rock star. I got my shirt ripped off, man. I thought that was neat.
I was happy for the organization, but most of all, I was happy for the fans.
We all felt this was a lifetime opportunity, and so it had magical qualities.
Guys are taking off from work. You know, people have skipped out on work, out on school.
I went to my priest and I said, Father, I can't get to Mass on Sunday. He goes, what's wrong, Bill? How come you can't? It's Billy Williams Day. We're playing the Cardinals. Oh, that's okay, Bill. You go to the game.
That summer, the second most famous group at Wrigley Field took up residence in the left field bleachers and became cult figures of their own.
Do the bleacher bums have any special plans for Cleon Jones?
We have special plans for every player that comes to the outfield, and it's always voices and loud cheers. Loud enough so when our players hit the ball, they cannot hear the crack of the bat, and they lose the ball.
The bleacher bums were never planned out. One day, one of the guys brings a bed sheet with spray paint. Our leader, Ronnie Grousel, puts his head through the hole, hits the bleacher bum. Little do we know that there's an Associated Press photographer, and he snaps this photo, hits the bleacher bum. Well, from that day on, we were the bleacher bum.
It was circus. It was Mardi Gras. It was 4th of July, New Year's Eve, every single day. They had cheerleaders.
And there's the cheerleader Selma, getting the bleacher fans going.
Stupid thing like that just drove the bums crazy. Then, after the game was over, the bums and other fans would go to raised bleachers, and they'd be joined by Ferguson Jenkins, Ryne Santo, Selma, you name it. The players were so accessible, and they enjoyed it. And that kind of thing went on all summer.
My job was to fire up the crowd, get the bugle going whenever. Cubs are down 6-2 in the 5th inning. Hey, Murph, come on, let's get going. Start getting that bugle going. The whole ballpark, 40,000 people are now fired up. And then the Cubs get 3 runs. Did I have anything to do with it? I want to think I did.
They'd travel with us. I mean, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh.
John Holland called some of the bleacher bum guys to his office. So right away, we're like, oh, we're in trouble now. And they came back and they said, they want to send us on a road trip.
We made a scene right away marching through the Atlanta airport, all 60 of us screaming, the Cubs are here.
We had Ronnie Grousel dressed up as the bear, and they had Chief Nakahoma, which would always come out at the beginning of their game, and he'd bless the mound and run out to his teepee.
Well, we got out just past the dirt, and Ron Grousel ran out in the field and tackled him. And that you'll never see anywhere else in baseball.
And then Chief Nakahoma went to his teepee, and the bear left the field and came back from the stand.
2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. The night that man landed on the moon, and Neil Armstrong took that first step, my friend looked up and he said, man has walked on the moon, and the Chicago Cubs are in first place. Whoever would have thought it?
In early August, the Chicago Sun-Times began publishing a graphic of Leo Durocher in a Swami hat looking over a crystal ball, and inside the crystal ball is the magic number.
Ground ball. Second up with it. To Florida Banks. It's a no-hitter.
When Kenny Holtzman threw that no-hitter, the Cubs now go up 8 games in first place. August 19th. It was time to light the victory cigar.
We were celebrating daily, and our joy was embodied in Ron Santo's antics.
I went up in the air and clicked them once. I ran again and clicked them twice. I ran again and clicked 3 times. And Leo calls me, and he said, can you make that our victory kick at home?
The best things that the Cubs did were often identified with Ron Santo clicking his heels under his ass.
Then what we all feared started to happen. People stopped hitting it in a timely manner, and then suddenly, boy, it just evaporated so quickly.
By late August, the team's 9-game lead had wilted in the Wrigley sunshine. Cub regulars who hardly gotten a day off were worn out.
I think if we could have played a few night games in Wrigley, it might have helped us be a little bit stronger.
A lot of guys lost weight. We ran out of gas in some respect.
The team that had started the season as an afterthought was hot on our heels.
we didn't think nothing of the Mets. We were really thinking about the Cardinals, and the Mets just came from nowhere. They just sneaked up on us.
While we were slumping, the Mets were making a miracle run behind their aces Tom Seaver and Jerry Koosman. And on September 8th, the Cubs were barely in first when they went to New York in a last-ditch effort to turn things around.
The 2-1 delivery, and a line shot, base hit going into right field. Agee is going to try and score. It's going to be close at the plate. The throw to the side. Save!
That call cost us Game 1.
And Randy Hundley is jumping up and down, up and down.
The next night, with our lead down to a game and a half, we got a visit from the ghost of an old goat.
I can only tell you that I'm standing on deck, and out of the corner of the eye, I see this cat. He comes around me, and then he goes right and looks right at Leo. I said, I don't believe this. And what can you say?
Nobody had ever seen it before in a baseball field of all the teams for it to happen to. It happened to the Cubs.
That damn cat. We lost that game 7-1, and our lead shrunk to a half a game.
It was really humiliating to hear 59,000 New Yorkers saying, "Goodbye, Leo, we hate to see you go." I'll never forget that as long as I live, because that was basically the end. The momentum was going the other way.
You're walking down the street, and people are looking like there's a death march. You think, what happened? Is your dad, mom okay? Is your wife okay? No, the Cubs lost again.
When the Mets clinched the division, I went out and went on a bender for a week. And I'm sure so did a lot of other people. I wasn't the only one. I had plenty of company.
Today is the day that should have been. The Cubs slugging away against the Orioles in Baltimore. The bleacher bums traveling cross-country in support, and Chicagoans glued to their radios and TVs. Actually, it's only to be expected that today is a lousy day in Chicago.
The Mets went by them like an express train and never stopped. They won 100 games. The Cubs won 92. They finished 8 games out. It wasn't even close.
I hate the Mets. What they did to us will never be forgiven in Chicago. And that sounds like sour grapes 35 years after the fact. I'm sorry.
Years later, I was doing Baseball's Game of the Week, and Tom Seaver joined our crew. I couldn't stand it. I really couldn't. Finally, he asked me, he goes, "Ever do something to you?" And I was kind of like, "You and you."
If I died tomorrow, I've had a great life. I mean, the Cubs have brought me tremendous joy, tremendous sorrow. A lot of people will never have what we had in the summer of '69.
I wonder if we'd have won, what would have been like.
Remember, the victory's in the bag. Crunch time is munch time, and I've got the big bag. I've got the peanuts. Go, go, go! Go, go, go! Hey, Chicago!
Told her we had to go to the happiest place on earth for a honeymoon. Go to Wrigley.
We actually planned the wedding around opening day.
This is our year, baby. Right now, baby. Cubbies!
In 1977, P.K. Wrigley died. He'd been faithful to his father, and he never sold the Cubs.
Perhaps the greatest gift that P.K. Wrigley gave to the Cubs and to Cub fans was Wrigley Field itself. The field was standing before P.K. Wrigley controlled the team, but when Wrigley understood, it was a lot easier to guarantee a pleasant experience at the ballpark than to be able to guarantee that your team would win.
I've been to a lot of ballparks in my life, and it's still the most magical place I've ever been.
I go back to black and white television. I guess I thought it was going to be in black and white when I walked into the ballpark. I'll never forget the green grass. And I look back up and there's that big green scoreboard.
The ivy is such an unexpected thing in a baseball field. There's something so beautiful about the ivy set against the red bricks.
People come to see the last bastion of baseball the way our fathers' fathers grew up with it.
That's the star of the franchise. You could open the doors of Wrigley Field at 11:45 any day of the week in the summer and have no game. 10 to 15,000 people would show up just to eat lunch there. It's just a beautiful place to sit and do nothing. And the Cubs are usually so bad, that's what you did.
The ambiance around the ballpark is exciting, it's fun. I think day baseball, the neighborhood, and the closeness of the fans to the field contributes to the excitement of Wrigley Field.
It's families, it's generations, and you feel it when you're there. To sit with 40,000 people who believe and hope just like you do, it's very comforting and it's a great experience. There's no better place on earth.
1981 saw the end of an era when the Wrigley family sold the club. The new owners, the Tribune Company, wanted a winner, and they hired Dallas Green to bring him one.
If I didn't feel that we couldn't get the job done, I wouldn't be here today.
He ended the Phillies drought, and Tribune Company brought him over here to try to bring this team into the 20th century.
Dallas Green woke up a slumbering, sleeping franchise. This guy fired everybody. He didn't just get rid of the players, he got rid of the front office.
But the biggest change, well, that took place high above home plate.
It's a beautiful day for baseball at Wrigley Field.
Harry Carey, once of the Cardinals and the White Sox, came to the friendly confines in 1982. That Harry was some pitchman, and man, were we buying what he was selling.
Let's play ball.
The man brought joy to baseball. He had joy, he spread joy. It was about the joy.
Oh, well, thank you. Come here, let's do that again.
Also, have you ever seen a drunk guy broadcast a game?
They used to call Harry the mayor of Rush Street. You know, he liked to tip a few. He liked to be out till late. It didn't bother him if the first pitch was at 1 o'clock the next day.
People would just turn and look up at him and yell, "Harry!" in the middle of a ball game. And then they go back to watching the game.
When we get off a team bus on a road trip in these different cities, the fans would be out there, and we'd be asked for autographs, and then Harry would get off, "Oh, Harry!" and then everybody would go to Harry Carey.
He claimed the reason he was so popular was he was a fan himself.
Hey, Watson. Come on, Steve. He never dropped one of those in his life.
What? He just did.
He did! Holy cow!
There's nothing like the seventh inning stretch. You know, for some kids, that was even better than the game. Is just waiting to sing along with Harry, you know.
So Harry was just as much responsible as Dallas Green in turning it around.
Long drive, way back, it might be, it could be, there it is! Holy cow!
I don't like to miss opening day. Put it right there. I'd like to treat it as more of a religious holiday. In 1984, my family and I moved from Seoul, South Korea to Chicago, and that's when we discovered Chicago Cubs.
Kil John Kim and his sister's son were quick studies in Chicago culture. In the mornings they learned English. In the afternoons they got their education.
I believe we watched just about every game since June 8th of 84. That's how we learned to understand English. I did hit a very interesting season as my first season with the Cubs. 84 was a pretty special season.
We loved every minute of that season. Dallas Green kept wheeling and dealing, and he pulled off his biggest coup when he picked up Rick Sutcliffe in June. Sutcliffe would go 16-1 for us and win the Cy Young. And our second baseman, well, he would blossom into a bona fide star.
In the center, a great catch by Sandberg!
Ryne Sandberg was a guy whom avid baseball fans knew, but outside Chicago, he wasn't that much on their radar screen. This game is what fixed him in the imagination of baseball fans.
NBC Sports presents the Major League Baseball Game of the Week.
We call those the Game of the World because we knew everybody was watching.
The Cub fans, June 23rd, 1984, will forever be known as the Sandberg game. And you couldn't have scripted a better drama.
Bruce Suter's on the mound for the Cardinals. He is then the invincible relief pitcher in the National League. Sandberg comes up, bottom of the ninth.
Into left center field and deep. This is a tie-ball game.
The place was going nuts. I remember slapping Don Zimmer's hand coming around third base, and we tied the game.
The Cardinals got the lead back, and with 2 out in the bottom of the 10th, Sandberg faced Suter again.
They're going to show my last couple of swings and a strikeout against Bruce Suter with the credits going over.
Our game today was produced by Ken Edmondson, directed by Bucky Gunts. Mike Weissman is the executive producer of NBC Sports.
But it didn't happen that way.
Deep left center. Look out! Do you believe it? It's gone!
That was the game that stamped the Cubs as for real that summer, and stamped Sandberg as not just a good player, but an emerging superstar who would become the MVP that year.
It was a new feeling at Wrigley Field. It was, wow, this team's headed towards the top. And city Chicago was just totally getting taken over by it.
We hadn't had this much fun since the summer of '69. Thousands of fans went to Pittsburgh to see the Cubs clinch the division in person. The rest of us were glued to the TV.
I was only 8, and my brother was 4, and my mom put us to bed, and my dad, right before the 9th inning, runs upstairs to wake us up. And my mom says, "Don't wake them up, they have school tomorrow." And my dad was born in 1946, so he had never seen the Cubs in a postseason. And he said, "I've waited my whole life for this. This may be the only time the boys see it. I'll be damned if I'm not going to wake them up."
Meanwhile, back in Chicago, we celebrated late into the night. And man, we couldn't wait to take on those Padres.
I took my father to the first game. He had tears in his eyes as he went through the turnstile. My brother says, "This is the way it always should have been." But it never happened.
At this time, we ask that you please rise and join in the singing of our national anthem.
One of my best friends' father died, and I'm supposed to be at his funeral. And I'm standing there, and I'm on TV, so I got caught. It wasn't the proper thing to do. It was, for me, the proper thing to do. It was Cubs.
There's a drive! Might be! It could be! It is! A home run!
We're winning. We look great. Sutcliffe was overpowering. And you think, okay, next stop is the World Series.
They killed the Padres in those stupid, ugly uniforms. I mean, it was just a mismatch.
Larry Boa! Cubs win! Cubs win!
We thought, man, this is it. It's a done deal.
There are no done deals with the Chicago Cubs. More than any other team ever, there's no done deals. Done deals do not exist. There's only, we'll see.
We won game 2, and we're 1 win from our first World Series in 39 years. We were so close.
Now I got 2 under your belt. Do you think you can sweep it and make 3 races?
Well, that's our plan. We were rolling, and now we're on a flight headed to San Diego. All we have to do is win 1 out of 3.
The Chicago Cubs are on the air.
We wanted a sweep, but lost game 3, 7-1.
San Diego has won its first game.
It only got worse. In game 4, our torment came at the hands of a single Padre.
I hate Steve Garvey. I really do. I hate Steve Garvey.
The devil incarnate.
To this day, I can't even say the name Steve Garvey without cringing somewhat.
I hate Steve Garvey and those yellow and brown idiots.
Through the first 8 innings, Garvey went 3 for 4 and drove in 3 runs.
Garvey did it again.
He was the last person we wanted to see come up with the score tied in the bottom of the 9th.
A long drive, deep right center, way back. It might be. It could. Garvey did it again.
Sure enough, 1 swing of the bat, and we're seeing Billy Goats and Black Cats all over again.
And I remember Steve Garvey running around with his hand up like this, the number 6 on his back, and it made me want to puke.
He did the right arm salute, which I didn't care for.
I mean, what's he doing? Some old dude who's done, who's washed up. Now he's on the Padres, and he's ruining our stuff.
My son's godfather beats us. Steve Garvey. How much more torture can one man take?
That's what it's like being a Cub fan. When you're a Red Sox fan, you hate the Yankees. I hate the Padres. The Padres don't even deserve my attention. I hate a team called the Padres. Padre, we're going to bring some of the injured into the church. Padre? What's a Padre?
This is it. The biggest moment in Cubs history since 1945.
We were reborn in Game 5. Sutcliffe was on his game, and we jumped out to a 3-0 lead.
Hey, back she goes. Back. Back. Hey, hey! Over for Johnny!
After 6 innings, our lead was down to a run. And then 24 hours after being snake bit by Garvey, we were cursed again. Only this time by one of our own.
A ground ball hit to Leon Durham, who did not miss a single ground ball the entire season.
Good pitch. Ground ball. Oh! Right through Durham's leg. The game is tied.
I got up and I just smashed the wall with my fist. I just knew it's another year. It's gone.
Bottom line is, it unraveled, and the Padres opened up a 6-3 lead. Bye-bye, baby.
Hard. Sandberg over his head, right center field, base hit. One run will score. Score, the throw getting it. Here comes Wiggins. Here comes the throw. He's safe.
My sister and I, we talked long enough about that 84 series. I think one of us will probably start crying before the other.
There's a one hopper. The Padres have won the National League pennant.
That was a dark day in Cub history. It was just like the baseball gods are going to say, Cubbies, not yet. Not just yet. Wait a little longer.
It hurts. It hurt real bad, and it takes a long time to get over. And
Who says I'm over it? I'm not over it.
That's when I really did learn the lesson that generations of Cub fans had learned before me, which is you're going to have to wait till next year.
They'll get them next year, though. They'll be here tomorrow. I hate to say that word, next year. I've been saying it for 39 years. You can say it one more year.
When I come out,
get in line, Club. Get in line.
I will sign.
We Cub fans have an especially soft spot in our hearts for Ryne Santo. He played with the guts of a champion, even as diabetes threatened his life. But Ron's battle is far from over. In 2001, his right leg was amputated, and a year later, his left leg also had to be removed.
My son came to me when I was about to lose my second leg, and he said, Dad, all of us are so proud of you. He said, I want to do a documentary.
The film, This Old Cub, inspired Cub fan Bill Holden to do something to help find a cure for juvenile diabetes.
I bet I watched it 7 or 8 times.
A teacher on an Indian reservation in Arizona, Holden had seen too many Native American children suffer from diabetes.
I started a connection between Santo, the kids on the Indian reservation, seeing the movie. I started thinking, is it possible to walk across the country? This would be a very good thing.
See, Holden called me. I'm going to walk for Ronnie's legs. I'm going to be Ronnie's legs, man. I'm walking for charity.
He's going to walk from Arizona to Chicago. And I go, are you nuts?
Word of Bill's journey got out, and everywhere he went, he had a follower.
There'd be people driving by, hands on their horn, kids, women, moms, hanging their heads out, yelling and screaming as they went past.
I feel like I'm in the greatest city in the world.
The trip entailed 2,100 miles, 172 days, one pair of sneakers.
Really appreciate all your efforts. Thank you very much.
And then they got me out by right field, and they opened the door, and I walked out on the field.
Bill's unprecedented odyssey began on January 11th. He's raised $250,000 in honor of Ron Santo.
Just amazing. Santo was there. It's just an incredible, wonderful feeling.
And I did it honorably, too. I did it honorably.
He said, I did it. I did it. I told you I'd do it. And, I had tears, and it was something. It was really something. The fans of Chicago got me through this. You could not believe the boxes of mail I got. You can't believe how much that brings you up and you feel like you're going to make it. I lost both my legs, and look what I got on. My Cubby uniform. I mean, how much do I love it?
In 2003, the Cubs showed their love for Ron by retiring his jersey. No Cub will ever again wear the number 10.
One of my greatest memories of Wrigley Field is the 2003 playoffs. There we go. Well, at the beginning of 2003, I knew the Cubs were gonna go all the way.
We can create a miracle, Chicago. Our first World Series in 95 years begins today.
I quit my job, and essentially what I did is I put my life savings into making a film about the Chicago Cubs and about their journey to the World Series.
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
You gotta believe right here. And I also took out quite a few credit cards, and I've maxed them all out. People didn't believe at the beginning, but by the end the Cubs were winning, and there was this belief. Everybody believed finally the Cubs were going to go to a World Series. And that was something magical and amazing to capture on film.
Ground ball to short. Martinez the second one over to first. Touchdown!
With our first division title in 14 years, Matt's movie had the perfect opening. We had a long way to go to give it the perfect ending.
Cubs played the Braves, the big Braves with their pitching staff. The Cubs polish them right off.
And the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike three. Cubs win.
It was the first time that they won a playoff series since 1908. Since 1908. We actually get to spray champagne. Cub fans get to spray champagne.
Now you're feeling ready to light that victory cigar. The Marlins coming up. Are you kidding me? Bring them on. Old Jack McKeon and a bunch of rookies.
But we lost game one.
Fly ball straight away center field, hit pretty well, lofted at the wall, and a pinch hit home run by Mike Lowell has given the Florida Marlins a one-run lead here in the 11th.
And then we won the next three.
Cubs are one win away from the World Series.
We were shut out in Game 5 and couldn't clinch in Florida. We'd have to win it at home.
Cub fans have waited 58 years to get to the World Series. They will wait 48 more hours to have a chance again. Well, the stars seem to be aligned for the Chicago Cubs. They have Mark Pryor getting the ball tonight, their best pitcher. Kerry Wood waiting in the wings should there be a Game 7 tomorrow.
When you have Pryor and Wood going at home, you figure, this is going to be a cakewalk.
And the 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike three. Sammy hits a little fly ball down the right field line. That ball is in there for a base hit. Lofton comes in to score. Cubs lead 1-0. The pitch. Carroll takes a wild pitch. Here comes Sosa. He scores. Cubs lead 2-0.
If people didn't have a ticket, they were still coming to Wrigley Field. They just wanted to be around Wrigley Field. Something magical was about to take place.
All right. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game.
When Bernie Mac, a Southsider, comes in, he's in the booth, he's singing the Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and he says something about root, root, root for the champs.
Root, root, root for the champ, champ.
And I just thought, this is the kiss of death. Why let Bernie Mac in the booth to sing anyway? And then he says, root, root, root for the champs.
3 strikes, you out for the old ball game. Champ!
Crowd of waving going crazy. 7th inning stretches took place. The Cubbies are up by 2. Things are looking good. We need 6 more.
Full count pitch.
In the 7th inning, Paul Bacco gets a base hit.
Line drive, base hit, center field.
Cubs go up 3.
And there's a line drive in the center field. That's a base hit. Bacco's going to score. Cubs lead 3-0.
My wife walks into the family room where I'm watching the game, and she says, they're up 3-0. You are so tense. And I just go, you have to get out. You have to leave the room. I'm not going to watch the game with you. Please leave. Because you have no idea what's going on.
The 2-1 pitch. Fly ball left field, shallow. Alou waiting. He's got it. 5 outs to go.
He says something about 5 outs left. Now, if I had sort of been within reach of that person, there's a strangulation situation going on.
And at that time, that's the first moment that I allowed myself to believe this is going to happen. This is it. We're going to do it.
And the Marlins beginning to run out of outs against Mark Pryor.
Our son lives in Washington, D.C. I'm watching the game at home. I'm talking to him. I don't remember ever in a ball game counting how many outs were left. But we were definitely, both of us saying, we're 5 outs away.
Not since 45. It's going to happen.
3-2 pitch. Fly ball to left.
And I go, all right, 4 outs to go as that ball was popped up towards the stand.
Toward the line. Alou over. Does he have room?
And then it happened.
I think from my vantage point, Alou almost makes a great catch.
And leaping up, Alou cannot make the play.
Alou almost had an amazing catch. Good try, Alou!
I had no idea a fan interfered with the play at all.
And some dude with a headset on, he's not paying attention. It's like Alou jumps, hands, and it's over.
And all of a sudden you see Moises Alou coming in screaming, furious, angry, and everybody's just in shock.
Billy goats start flashing in your head. Black cats, crossing Santo's path. And then all these ghosts kind of joined in with this new curse we have.
I mean, we have the most gory mistake of 03, and it wasn't even made by a player, which, of course, is poetry. It was one of us. We did it.
The fan reached over. His name was Bartman.
It's terrible that we know Steve Bartman's name for this, Somehow he replaced the Billy Goat, and that's just wrong.
I'm thinking that's okay. We'll get the double play.
Let's get the double play and get out of this 3-1. We'll be fine.
And the pitch. Ground ball towards short. Gonzalez has it. Bobbles it. And everybody is safe.
So Alex Gonzalez just bobbled a possible tailor-made double play. At least 1 out. I think fans here are feeling anxiety, like, here we go again.
When you're a Cub fan, this is how things happen. This is the way it works. Everything starts to go to hell.
Swinging a line drive down the left field line. A base hit. It ties the game. Going to third is Cabrera on a double by Lee. Can you believe it?
We were so close. And we had it, right? We're having it right then. And it's taken away from us.
That ball hammered into left center field. On the run, Alou. On the run is Walton, and it's off the ivy. 3 runs are going to score on a double by Mordecai.
As the Marlins are scoring more and more runs, the fans are getting more and more angry at Bartman.
The fans are still mad at that fan over there. They're all chanting. Well, a word I can't say.
He's a great Cubs fan. Went to all the games. Lived and died Cubs. So it's very sad for him.
They had to escort him out.
Step back! Step
To this day, I would love to give Steve Bartman a hug. That's how much I think he has nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with this.
Lofton pops it up. This is foul and playable, and Lowell will make the catch. The Marlins shock the Cubs. 8-3 the final.
The Cubs will have to go and win it tomorrow night.
We should have liked our chances with Kerry Wood in Game 7. We should have convinced ourselves that momentum meant nothing and that we were finally getting what was coming to us. But deep down, we knew better. And when Wood couldn't hold the lead,
line drive, base hit to right, and the Marlins have the lead.
And we lost 9-6, we shouldn't have had to watch the Marlins celebrate on our Wrigley Field.
The Florida Marlins have stunned the Chicago Cubs.
It just didn't seem fair.
We actually had a film deal in place based upon the Cubs not even winning the World Series, but if they just went to the World Series, not only that, I was scheduled to appear in some television shows. When Katie Couric, people leaves a message saying, "We don't want you anymore," you don't forget it. It's like you lost out on the project, but more importantly, it hurt as a fan. It took me weeks. Okay, it took me months. I'm not over it yet. I'm not over it yet. I'm not over it yet.
Rooting for the Cubs is not easy, but the best things in life never are. The players come and go, but the Cubs, that eternal object of our affection at Clark and Addison, live deep in the heart of every Cub fan.
Let the season begin. Love and faith and hope are part of the Cubs equation. People love the underdog. There's no greater underdog than the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago Cub fan.
Excuse me, are you showing the Cubs game? On opening day, I just cry every time. Because it makes me think about how happy I am to be alive.
It's faith. It's our nature. It's part of our personalities. I mean, I think the Cubs are a tradition of attempting to fulfill a destiny.
I think that the Cubs are a real good lesson in how to lead a life. There's no way to quit. Just because you do not have that World Series championship ring doesn't mean that you should pack it up and go.
You mean wait till next year? I don't have that many years to wait. Gang, we need to get some runs. Let's go. Come on, everybody. We need to get some runs. And a 1. And a 2. And a 3. Take me out to the ballgame. Take me out to the ground.
Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks.
I don't know what I do. Before the coming if they